What's going on, everybody? Andrew Steele here. Over the last few days, I've been getting some calls from folks that are absolutely panicking about what's going on. There's been word going around that several RV parks are closing. Private RV parks, public RV parks, state parks. And in today's video, I want to talk to you a little bit about full-time RVing and some of the downsides of full-time RVing and some of the stories of some of the people that I know that have reached out to me in the current crisis. I've had people that called me, they don't know where they're going to go, what they're gonna do. They were planning on staying in a certain RV site and they were told that they were gonna have to pack everything up, go down the road. They've got nowhere to go, nowhere to plug into water to get more water, nowhere to dump their sewer, and not all of these RVs have generators, so some of these folks need 50 amp to plug into. Not only are they being kicked out of where they're at, there's a coronavirus going on right now. They can't just go get access to water, lodging. This is really scary times for folks. Today I want to talk a little bit about full-time RVing, and I'll be honest, I'm going to keep it real with you guys. And sometimes when I shed light from different sides of the perspective, people don't like that and they hit the unsubscribe button. So please hit the subscribe button. I made a video the other day about RV salesmen, and a lot of people got upset and hit the unsubscribe button. So please consider subscribing if you enjoy this video. This coronavirus has been putting business owners in a more difficult position than any other time in my lifetime. I don't recall anything happening like this where so many businesses were forced to shut down. Several people have been laying off their employees. Business owners are in a very difficult position because they want to be able to protect their employees. As a business owner myself, and growing up in business, that has to be the number one priority of any great business, is protecting the safety of their employees. This virus, it creates a huge risk to employees if they have to deal with the general public. So any jobs where folks have to be put on the front line, it's completely understandable. So I can see where a lot of these businesses don't want to put their employees at risk, so they're just shutting the doors. This creates a huge problem, and there's been all kinds of talk about it. The federal government's gotten involved, state governments on all different levels have gotten involved in this, whether this is an essential business or not. Because you have a lot of people that are full-time RVers. This is where people may get a little bit upset at what I'm saying, because I'm gonna talk about full-time RVing. Technically, no RV is really set up for full-time living. I've been filming fifth wheels with RV salesmen before, and I say something, this would be a great coach for full-time living, and they're like, no, you can't say that. We can't say full-time living. These are recreational vehicles. They are not built for full-time living. These are campgrounds, these RV resorts. These are recreational facilities. So it's a very, very gray area, because technically it's a recreation, but so many of us have gotten accustomed to full-time living that it puts a lot of people in a tough place. If you are full-time living in an RV, I highly recommend that you have a location, a safe location where you can bring your coach to, kind of a bug out spot, if you will. If something like this happens where you are to get kicked out of a campground, you want to have a home base where you can go to. And if you don't right now and you're full-time living, this is a tough time to figure it out, but that's something that you definitely want to figure it out. I'm talking to people here. I have good friends here that full-time, that have businesses close by, that work close by, and live in this campground right behind me. Now, this campground behind me particularly is on tribal land, so that brings a completely different dimension to the whole deal, because on tribal land, this is run by the tribe, and the tribal members, the tribal leadership really have the right say over what they want to do with their land. And just like a private RV park, even if you're in an RV resort and you think everything is hunky-dory, there are times when I've seen RV resorts shut their doors. So that can happen too. So if you're full-time living, not even in a crisis situation, the owner of the RV resort could, at any given time, it's different in different states, but I know Arizona, I believe the landlord law is 30 days notice to give a tenant notice. I'd have to double check that, and I'm not a real estate expert, so make sure you check any laws where you're at. But any full-time RVer technically can be displaced. So if you're RVing, you really want to make sure you have a game plan in place, and this is where it really kind of tests folks. This is kind of like being in a ship at sea and a storm's coming in, and now you've got to act. I full-time lived for about 6 years or so, and I really enjoyed it. There's just nothing like being in the campgrounds, but I actually ended up going into a sticks and bricks, if you will, and for the same amount of money, what I pay for a sticks and bricks place year-round plus my RV, it's a lot more economical. So I've even had clients of mine call me, and they were heading to this park here, but because they weren't already here, they wouldn't let them in. They had a reservation, they had made a reservation, but I completely understand. This park said, nope, we're not accepting any new guests. It's just really a tough time. I can't imagine, that was my client, my friend, that just was planning on bringing his motorhome here in a huge motorhome. Another thing that you have to keep in mind is these things are really hard to store. Like, if you don't have somewhere to place it, you can't just go park a 45-foot motorhome or a truck and 35-foot fifth wheel just anywhere. You can't live in Walmart parking lots. So it's a really tough situation for these folks if they are to get displaced like this. Let me list off to you guys here the list of all of the campgrounds that have been affected by this whole situation here. This is on rvtravel.com. I highly recommend it. It's a great website with just a ton of great information. This is a fluid situation. It's changing constantly, but these are the campgrounds that were closed. This was the article that was released on March 19th or March 20th. So they're saying all Yosemite campgrounds are closed through March 31st. Any reservations between now and March 31st have been canceled. I'm going to try to read as many of these as possible, but head over to RV Travel if you just want to see the whole list here. So I'll leave a link to rvtravel.com and to this article in the description below. So Oregon is gradually closing campgrounds. After April 2nd, all state campgrounds will be completely closed. The decision remains in place until May 8th. So that's really big. There's a lot of folks that were probably planning on going to those campgrounds on those dates. They're completely closed down. Now, some of these decisions may be overturned, and people are definitely lobbying and trying to get government officials to overturn some of these decisions so that some of these RVers do have a place to go. But nothing is set in stone, and as of right now, a lot of these places are closed, so there's a lot of displaced RVers out there. Parks Canada has temporarily suspended all visitor services in national parks, national historic sites, and national marine conservation areas in the country until further notice. Closures include all campgrounds. Ontario, Canada is closing all provincial parks. Michigan State campgrounds are still open. Toilet shower buildings will be closed at modern campgrounds, but vault toilets at campgrounds, day use areas, and boating access will still remain open. So some of these folks don't have their showers set up, and they rely on these showers at these campgrounds. So that'll put them in a tough position. The Florida Keys does not want any short-term visits by RVers or out-of-towners. Flat out, Florida Keys doesn't want you. California State Parks has temporarily closed all its campgrounds in the state park system. Non-campground outdoor areas, including trails and beaches, will remain open. So all of the state parks and all of the campgrounds in California, they're saying they're closing them down. This is just unbelievable. In Oregon, 6 campgrounds in the Siuslaw National Forest in the Oregon near Sand Lake and the Oregon Dunes were closed on Wednesday. The rest are being managed on a case-by-case basis. The Willow Lake Campground and RV Park in Woodstock, Ontario, Canada opened yesterday, a month ahead of schedule, to allow snowbirds and people with RV stir going home to be able to have somewhere there to stay, and they're definitely practicing social distancing. It's very cool that this park in Canada is opening early to accommodate all of these RVers. And that's one thing I think in the RVing community, there's just so many great folks that want to help out and lend a hand, that I think RVers overall are going to survive. But you know, some people are definitely going to suffer and be uncomfortable and have a change of plans. But you know what, as RVers, that's kind of part of the whole adventure. So I'm not saying this is a good thing by any means, but we all just kind of have to try to make the best out of it. And it's not going to be fun. It's going to be uncomfortable, but hey, it's what we're going through right now. So we just have to try to remain as positive as possible. So I'll keep going through. There's all kinds of stuff going on here. Windstar World Casino and Resort said its casino and all retail stores will remain closed through March 31st, and the RV Park and Golf Club will stay open. So here I'm at the Fort McDowell Eagle View campground behind me. The Fort McDowell Casino is currently closed. They are allowing folks still to stay at the Eagle View campground, but they're not allowing any new people to come in, even if they had a reservation. And another thing, this campground behind me, they're only allowing people to pay for 1 week at a time. They're not even allowing people to pay for the whole month. People are trying to pay ahead of time to try to kind of claim their stake, and they're not allowing them to. So it's definitely still up in the air for these folks. Some of these folks may be displaced at any moment here. Scary stuff going on. Some places are closed. It's a fluid situation. You're going to want to check wherever you go. It's tough. I respect both sides of the story. Campground owners have the right to protect their staff's health and look out for the best of their health. It'd be nice if they could figure out a way to be socially distant and get people checked in and out without having to physically come into contact with other folks. So if people could check in without having to have contact with the staff, that would be the most ideal situation. So hopefully everyone can navigate through this situation as best as possible. We all just have to try to keep as much of a positive attitude as possible, and we all have to just be thankful for every day, every one of us. So I greatly appreciate all of you. I hope you're all having a great day. Thanks again.